what you'll see today is going to be this agenda. My assistant, who was integrally involved in putting this together, helped me with the presentation. She's very excited about it, as I am, so it's a solid 20 minutes. So I'm going to have to talk just a little quickly because she was so proud of it that she put a lot of material in for us to cover. So this is what we'll be covering today. Where can I stand for you to see? Is this okay right here? Okay, so right here we go. So I'll explain a little bit of the history and the opportunity, what problem we're solving, and I'll kind of go through what we came up with what we refer to as the facility role program. A quick look at the University of Minnesota. We're an R1 research institution, a land-grant institution. It's a 5-campus system. We have around 30 million square feet across the system. I'm from the flagship Twin Cities campus, and the material on the right is all for the Twin Cities campus. Students, about 52,000. We have about 150 undergraduate degree programs, 130 research-based graduate programs, and on that campus we have about 23 million square feet. I think it's important to get the size and scale to make sure you kind of calibrate with the system we're creating. One other interesting point is apparently we're one of only 5 universities, campuses in the country with engineering, med school, law school, vet med, ag school, plus all the others, all on one campus. So that kind of creates a complexity that led us to create the solution that we put in place. I do have my 2 fine print items I'll get out of the way early. The first one is the processes and tools that we developed and put in place work for us partly because we're a large public institution, about a $4 billion budget, and a highly decentralized administrative structure. So that's important. If that's not you, a different solution may be better for you. My second disclaimer is that this program is managed within facilities management. This is one of our other duties as assigned. So we are kind of a natural fit as an aggregator for services across the campus. So it's housed in FM for us, but it wouldn't have to be. So if you're thinking that it's an FM thing, it really doesn't have to be. It could be in any number of different units. So this is my problem statement. I like this slide because I made this slide on my second day of work in 2006. And this way I can say it has staying power because it's still being used today. Well, by me, anyway. So I don't think that this is going to surprise anyone, that if you look at what we have on the left is the blue, is kind of the service providers. And then you're looking on the right, and the green is who is the customer? Is it the dean, or is there a certain person in the department you talk to? And what if they disagree with each other? So if you're a provider and you're trying to tell your staff, like I would be with my team, how we work with workflow and process, it wasn't the same for each group because each unit thought differently and wanted to behave differently. So our problem was that. The vision that we had is something we called the bow tie. And the idea was that all of the service providers would then aggregate to one single point of contact. We'd have a service level agreement that everyone would understand what we're providing. The customer side would have a point of contact, and they would also be the voice back to all of the other customer units. So this was a model that we used, and I'll talk a little bit at different levels, at more of a strategic level, an operational level, a tactical level. But this was the mindset. This was really the mentality that we want to change the dynamic to looking like this. The brief history. We started back in 2007, and the reason I want to bring this up is to kind of show it's a long journey, or has been a long journey for us. In 2007, I'll call it the coalition of the willing. We looked at people who were in certain roles, and we said, hey, you all seem to be doing the same thing. Why don't you help us try and get that group who's not doing what you're doing so we can provide service more consistently across campus? So we started a group we called the Bridge Group. And this was, again, not really formalized, and it was not consistent, but it was us generating momentum. We did that for a number of years, and we saw some benefit, and those kind of playing along thought, this is better. We're communicating better. So we launched a formal project in 2015, 2016 to try and formalize what are the roles that we need you on your side to be doing so we can help you. Help me, help you. We did that for a couple of years, and we're mostly successful, but at the time, we were trying to really force it to be just a couple of roles. And some of our colleges are big, lots of departments, they're very complex, and the program was a little simplistic for their needs. 2018, 2019, we brought in a new technology, an ArcGIS system, and we could make the program a little bit more flexible, but still being consistent. And today, we're pretty happy with what we have, and we're in a maintenance mode. So I'll get to all of these details in the next slides, but this is kind of the journey that we've been on. Where would you be without guiding principles? Okay, you really need that to have the foundation for your work. One of the things that we tried to do is align to the university's existing financial structure. A number of years prior, our chief financial officer had really driven colleges to say, I want one person to be your financial contact. I can't talk to all of you. You're a mess. You don't agree with each other. I don't know. You give me one person and I will figure out the financial plan for your college. We wanted to leverage that. We wanted to leverage the system and said, we want to have that for our facility business like we set it up for the financial business a number of years ago. Let's see, incorporates context into the existing roles, consistency across campus. That's what we're looking for in the alignment. On the authority side, we knew that who's the customer was a problem and who's the decision maker is a challenge. So the way we structured this is that the individual we have as the college level facility lead is assigned by the dean and speaks on behalf of the dean. So this position has real authority to it, and it's assigned to them. And I'll explain a little bit more about each of the roles that we have. One thing you'll see on the slide, well, I'll get to the vocabulary in just a minute. The other piece is these roles are staffed in the colleges and departments, not in FM. This is not me assigning my people another task. This is colleges assigning someone a role. Usually not a full-time job, but it's a task that they have to perform, and it's assigned to them, and they're a member of those individual colleges. From that, how hard can it be? We set out to do this facilities role program. The only reason I'm doing a little vocabulary slide is that for the one or two of you who want to look at the materials after this, and I'm happy to share with you what those roles are and how it's set up. This is the terminology that you'll see, so I wanted to introduce you to that terminology in the presentation, so if you followed up, you'd be able to kind of keep up with it. But the idea of the one financial unit we refer to as an RRC, Resource Responsibility Center, and then we piggybacked on that to have a Resource Responsibility Center facility lead. So think of it as a college or as a non-academic unit, the highest level dean-like position, one facility lead. We introduced the department facility representative. There were some roles like this. You probably have people at the department level helping you, but this was a clear assignment with roles that we expected them to do, and it included workflow, how we do work, and I have a few examples of that. A primary building contact was another one, and I'll talk about that role. So this is what it looks like. Well, maybe you want picture form, so I thought a picture would be nice. So in this example, College of Liberal Arts is the umbrella, and that's the, again, RRC facility lead role, one per academic unit. So for our campus of 23 million square feet, 1,000 acres, and 1,000 departments, I can get to every space on campus with 47 people because we've organized it by way of this facility lead role. Then within that, I'll use the college as an example, there are departments, maybe the English department within College of Liberal Arts. They have space assigned throughout the campus in various offices. Sometimes they have a floor, sometimes an office, maybe a lab, maybe the whole building, but usually not. So a department facility rep is in charge of their departmental space assignments no matter where it is throughout campus. No matter what building it's in, you're in charge of the department that you are overseeing. Then if you look at it more of the vertical with the teal color, we also need a single point of contact for a building. Issues come up where you want to let the building occupants know. How long is that elevator going to be out? What's going on with the construction outside of that area? You need to get to the building occupants, not the departments. So we needed that role as well, so we could have a single point of a building contact. Okay, by the numbers. I mentioned the top one, facility lead role. So for 47 units, I can cover the entire Twin Cities campus, and I can work with 47 people. I can't work with 20,000, but I can work with 47 people. On the building side, about 230 represented by 138 primary building contacts. That's because several people have more than one building, that they are the primary building contact, so we have the roles and a few less people. We have a few more buildings on campus, but like a hog barn and a horse barn don't really require this structure, so we didn't put those in, so that matches that number. The role that we call a department facility representative actually has a couple of flavors to it. It could be one person who does all the roles that are required to be a department facility rep, but the big complex schools said, I can't live with that. It's too complicated. So we created a few variants of a department facility rep. You can be the primary, the alternate, one who does card, key, and access, which is one of the key things for us about who grants access to what spaces, and then a DFR for space management. So these are kind of the main key roles. Let's see. Of our total program, about 50% have more than one role that they're doing within the program. We have about 1,000 people total. If each role didn't have overlaps and duplicates of people doing more than one role, we'd have about 3,500 people in this program, but we have closer to 1,000. CLA is a big school. They have 46 departments within College of Liberal Arts, about 150 designated roles, and 69 people just working in that area for CLA. Law school is much smaller, 5 departments total. They've collapsed that to 7 roles, and 2 people are managing the roles. So I think, beauty of the program is if you're a big school and you want different people doing different roles, great. If you're a small school and you want one person, they can do all of these. In fact, I have one RRC that one person does everything on the board and they just manage it. And that's up to the college to decide how do you want a staff to do what you need to get done. So in the facility lead role, this is the strategic partnership. So this is one person appointed by the dean for the college level. We're talking about processes, procedures, strategic planning, the service level agreement development. How are we going to work together? So this is my strategic partner, one per RRC. One of the roles that they have is they make the assignments of the DFRs in their group. So if you happen to be the facility lead for College of Liberal Arts, you have assigned people in your area to be the department facility rep. So this is something that they have the responsibility for, is to make those assignments. On the DFRs, again, this could be a person or 4 people. This is a role-based organization. When we look at the DFR primary, we need one absolute clear lead DFR person. Some colleges wanted a backup just to make sure they didn't ever miss anything. Some use the backup, some don't. The 2 heavy lifting are probably those next two, DFR space and DFR card keyed access. When we're looking at space department, management of space within a department, it's a hot topic. I think you all would agree. It's we call it the second currency. So how you manage space is really important, and who has the authority to make space assignment decisions is also very important. For us, the DFR card key access, who authorizes you to have access to a particular building is another critical role that we want to be careful of who has that authority. Primary building contact. This is primarily a communication role. When we want to get the word out to all the building occupants, they have the responsibility to know a few things. One of them is, who are all the DFRs in your building? The DFRs in each building are responsible to know each individual person who's in that space, in that building, their email, how to get a hold of them. So we have kind of a tree organization that if I can get to the primary building contact, they are able to get to everybody who's in their building. And they have that information at their fingertips. Things that come up like building emergency plans and building signage, they're our go-to person. And they have a role to coordinate that for the building. No matter how big it is or how many different departments are there, we have one contact that we can work with from facilities. Okay, a couple of things for examples. Well, I'll just do 2 quick. If you're a locksmith, making a key is easy. The hard thing is knowing, who do I give the key to? Who authorizes me to give you a key? And that would be a role of the DFR who is in charge of card key access. Another one is with space. So if you are the person who is trying to allocate space to updates, ad hoc changes, then that's the person you're going to, the DFR space. We realized that we couldn't live in spreadsheets in a Drupal environment, so we used an ArcGIS tool. It's fed from our space database, and Brian Swanson, also with Minnesota. Tomorrow we'll talk about our Troy Riga system. The web interface, I'll quickly move over to this one. So if you are at the University of Minnesota, everyone has a portal. It's called MyU. What we've done here is for anyone who has a role in the program, they have a Manage Building tab. That tab then gets them to all of the workflow, the training, the databases, the information, anything that you need in the program, we manage on our end. So if you have a role, you know what it is, who to contact, how to do it, all of the forms you need for anything you fill out that we have on the tab for them. This to me is the magic of the ArcGIS. Here we have around 70,000 rooms on the Twin Cities campus. Every single room is in the system by way of the space database. For every room, we can find out who is that RC facility lead, who's the department rep who's in charge of space, access, and other contacts, like your facility team manager, kind of like your superintendent. So all of the contacts you'd ever need, we have broken down by space for each room across all the buildings on campus. You could also, across the top, have other, because it's a data set through ArcGIS, if you just want to get lists of a particular geography of campus, who are all the contact people on the West Bank? We have them all right in there. You can pull it all up, download it, send them all an email. It comes right off of the ArcGIS system. We're in a maintenance mode right now. There's tremendous turnover all the time, so trying to keep up with who has the role. Someone leaves, someone comes in, the college changes their mind. There's an ongoing maintenance function just to keep up, so when people log into the tool, it's accurate all the time. On the provider side, we use it all the time, not just FM, but whether it's public safety or a capital planning group, any other unit that needs to can have access to see who are we dealing with on their side, and then we can see on our side as well. My takeaways and lessons learned. Took us a while to get this program in place. To be honest, it was much harder and more complex than I thought it was going to be when we started this journey. But on the positive side, it's also much more powerful. It's integrated into workflow for our key management, our space management, our communication, our building emergency plans, our signage. It's a very integral part of the way we operate on campus. I do have, if you are interested, links to all of the overview of the program, all of the roles, all of the descriptions. We're happy to share that with you, and you'll have this in the material that goes out. Also, you can email my office, and we'll be happy to talk to you in more depth or share any more information that we have.